Why Stoicism is insufficient to save you. In this video, I'm going to talk about my experience with Stoicism and addiction and recovery, and why Stoicism alone was insufficient to save me. So I'm going to get into it really quickly. First, I'm going to talk about the positives and the benefits of Stoicism. In today's language, Stoicism, or being Stoic, means being emotionally strong and being able to self-regulate yourself and being almost a statue-like entity in regards to your emotional expression. But this isn't really what Stoicism is. Stoicism is based around the four cardinal virtues of ancient Greece. And the four cardinal virtues are temperance, courage, wisdom, and justice. Now, on the surface, Stoicism is a great philosophy, and I think Stoicism is integral even to a religion like Christianity. Christianity builds upon the four Stoic virtues and adds its own three more virtues like charity, hope. Stoicism is rooted in being a morally virtuous person. But when I was in my addiction, these virtues weren't enough to get me sober longer than a month or two at a time. The reason why is because even though I was practicing things like temperance, which is moderation, not doing things to excess, even though I was practicing courage, so having strength, doing difficult things, testing myself, pushing myself beyond my limits, even though I valued wisdom, so seeking truth, moral obligation to seek truth, and honoring justice, I didn't have an overarching or upward aim to fit those moral virtues into. So why was I following these virtues if I had no higher upward aim? See, at the time, I was filling a God-shaped hole with the four virtues of Stoicism. And even though I was practicing things like meditation and writing and exercising and reading on a daily basis and learning and trying to gain wisdom and knowledge, it wasn't enough because these are material fixes to a spiritual problem. So Stoicism was insufficient to give me a higher purpose. And finally, why Stoicism is insufficient, especially in terms of facing an existential crisis, like what is the meaning of life? Why am I here? Why was I born? Why am I a conscious, living, thinking, rational being? So Stoicism is insufficient because it's impersonal and it doesn't reconcile the fact that I am an imperfect being, I'm a sinner, I have faults, and I can't forgive myself. Even if I adhere to the Stoic virtues, doing these works of practicing temperance, of being courageous, of honoring justice and seeking wisdom, that's not enough to make up for the sins that I've committed, and it doesn't reconcile me to the infinite, absolute, almighty God. So I believed in the time, I believed in an amorphous or ambiguous, universal type deistic form of God. But because I wasn't willing to accept Christ, this impersonal concept and relationship between myself and my idea of God wasn't enough to sustain me in a stable state of being. So I would fill that hole with vice, with seeking pleasure, with bad habits, with self-destructive tendencies, even though I was practicing Stoicism. Because as much as I read, as many books as I read, as much as I learned, the material learning and the adhering to the Stoic principles wasn't enough to fill the existential hole inside of me. So it wasn't until I came to the realization that God gave his only son as an intercessor to reconcile himself and man that I was able to find true success in recovery. And after 20 years of active addiction, I'm finally over 1 year sober and approaching my second year of sobriety. And I attribute that to God pulling me out of my addiction after I prayed to him for help. So I hope this video finds you well. Give me a like and subscribe. Check out this one for more.